Hope everybody had lunch. Thank you for coming back. So I've got a special guest, to me at least, Brendan Burns, who is employee number 1 at KUIU. I think he was the only one that was crazy enough to believe my crazy dream and my vision for KUIU. He's one of the finest human beings you'll meet. Brendan came on board to build our guide and outfitter program. He's a super accomplished hunter. He's guided lots and lots of sheep hunts, governor tag holders in Montana. And there isn't a person alive on this planet that knows more about sheep and sheep hunting than Brendan. I guarantee you, if you ask him a sheep trivia question, he will answer it. Nobody's been able to beat him yet. I'm honored to bring him up and talk to you about hunt selection and what to choose. There's nobody better in the business. If you ever need help or ever want advice on who to go with, or you draw a tag, or you want to go on a sheep hunt, get a hold of us. We don't get paid to book. We just want to make sure our customers have the best experience possible on a hunt, and we know the good ones and the bad ones and the right type of hunts per customer. So thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. So like Lance, I haven't had a lot of talents. One of them is hunting animals, and since I was young, that was all I ever wanted to do. So one of my jobs here at KUIU is to advise people on both gear, and it's kind of morphed into I get calls from everybody about when they draw a hunt, where should I go. And so today I'm going to talk about like the overall landscape of sheep in North America. I mean, a quick show of hands, who here's drawn a sheep tag or been on a sheep hunt? Who here wants to go on a sheep hunt? Okay, this may help. So there's a lot of confusion in sheep. People think, oh, well, I want to go on a sheep hunt. Where do I start? And there's a lot that goes into it to make the right choice. And a lot of it is not, this is the best spot, or this guy's better than this guy, or I should apply here or there. It's what you want to get out of it. It's, are you bow hunting? Are you in great shape? Do you want to do a backpack hunt? Do you want to do a horseback hunt? Are you looking for a great big ram? Are you looking for an area with a lot of opportunity? These are all the questions you got to ask ahead of time, because what I find is most people that go on a sheep hunt that come back unsatisfied, whether they got one or not, is because they picked the wrong spot to go. It falls a lot on them. So if you know the right questions to ask ahead of time, and you know what you're looking for, you can get a lot closer to picking, whether it's draw or buying a hunt or booking a hunt, what you're looking for. So I'm going to go through just the overall landscape of sheep in North America. So we have 4 sheep in North America. There six kind of are referred to, but it's really 4. So there's Dall sheep, there's stone sheep, there's Rocky Mountain Bighorn, there's desert sheep. The 2 other extras would be California Bighorns and Fannin sheep, and I'll get into what those are exactly. But the kind of starter, the most achievable hunt in North America is Dall sheep. And Dall sheep are in the Northwest Territories. We're going to start east and work west. They're in the Northwest Territories, they're in the Yukon, they're in Alaska, and there's a small area in British Columbia that has Dall sheep as well. They're not all created equal. The Northwest Territories has really high density. The Northwest Territories and the Yukon have really high density, very high success rate. It's more expensive. On the other hand, 90 of the top 100 Dall sheep killed in the world have come out of Alaska. So it kind of depends on what you want to get out of the hunt. The Northwest Territories has the highest success rate. It's the most remote. It's the most bow hunter friendly. It's also the most expensive. You can do a helicopter hunt, you can do airplane hunts, backpack hunts, but the Northwest Territory has the highest success rate. The Yukon is probably a close second. There's some really good areas in the Yukon. Alaska has a lot of different sheep hunting. It has the Brooks Range, the Chugach, the Alaska Range, the Talkeetnas, lots of different stuff. The success, I'm going to take a step back. In the Northwest Territories, in the Yukon and in British Columbia, you are required, unless you're a resident of those areas, you are required to have a guide, a licensed guide. Same in Alaska. Unless you're a resident, there's no such thing as DIY Dall sheep hunting. So it's a bummer that we can't just head up north and go do that, but it's just a fact. So Alaska is on average cheaper than the Yukon and Northwest Territories. The one area in British Columbia that has Dall sheep, I'm not really going to dive into, but there is a small one. But there's really 3 options. So those areas, it depends on, there's higher success rate, you're going to pay more. Physically easier hunt, you're going to pay more. Bigger rams, you're probably going to have lower success rate, lower density animal. So it's real important when you decide, I'm going to go pick a Dall sheep hunt. You don't just go like call somebody and say, hey, book me on a Dall sheep hunt. So if you're an archer, you're probably going to want to go to a helicopter area or an area that has really high density of sheep, probably in the Northwest Territories, some in the Yukon. There's some areas in Alaska that have a little higher density, but overall, like archery success in the NWT is by far the highest. So here's a couple sheep. This is a Chugach ram I killed with Lance. That's a Yukon ram. This sheep right here, I put that in there because it kind of motivates me, but I missed that sheep with my bow in 2012, and it's a giant. Somebody else killed it a year later, and it bums me out. Makes me want to go on another hunt. And then it's a big Dall sheep that Jason killed up in the Northwest Territories. One of the things that I get asked a lot about Dall sheep, and it's always funny to me, is people are like, I want a real twisty one, or I want like, so we got 2 sheep here. Jonah Stewart killed this, and Eric Glass killed this other one. The one on the left is Jonah Stewart. That's what you call a boomer. So stubby, old, that's a legal sheep. And the one on the right obviously is a really big, twisty Dall sheep. The Brooks Range produces more of these. The NWT is really known for these twisty type sheep. So another question is like, what type of sheep, you're going to stare at that thing on the wall for the rest of your life. If you look at an outfitter's website or you talk to a guy and all his sheep are broomed and your dream is to kill a big twisty, full curl ram, you probably should look for a different spot. Doesn't mean that guy doesn't offer a great sheep hunt. It means you got to pick out what you're looking for. So there's some draw areas in Alaska. The Chugach, where Lance operates in, has the biggest sheep, probably the biggest sheep in the world in one area, and it's the toughest Dall sheep hunting in the world, basically. So if you don't like brush and you don't like ice, I would suggest not putting in there. It's tough hunting. So that's Dall sheep. Alaska, Yukon, NWT. The next one's stone sheep. So stone sheep are really only found in the Yukon and British Columbia, and it's kind of a little arm that swings up into the Yukon. The Yukon has Dall sheep on the top and stone sheep coming up from the bottom, and then British Columbia toward the north and central is where the majority of the stone sheep are. Stone sheep come in all different sizes, colors, configurations. It's probably the one I get the most questions about are stone sheep, and I'm going to show you a couple pictures. So this is a great big ram that a friend of mine, Alan Bolin, killed in the Yukon. It's a pretty light stone sheep. It's a true stone sheep from an area. It's not a Dall sheep. And then another buddy of mine, Johnny Nyker, killed this really dark ram in British Columbia. Typically in the Yukon, you're looking at lighter heads with a colored up body, and typically in British Columbia, you're looking at darker sheep, and people consider a true dark stone in British Columbia. And here's a pretty good example. These are my 2 stone sheep. This one's from Jared Dooling's area in the Yukon. That is none of them are all the same, but that's a pretty typical Yukon stone ram. And this is a British Columbia stone sheep. So you can tell, like, if your goal is to kill a dark stone, you probably shouldn't go to the Yukon. There's more lighter sheep up there than in British Columbia, and the biggest rams are in British Columbia. Stone sheep right now are probably, if you're going to book a hunt, they're between 35 and 50,000, depending on where you're going. So it's an expensive hunt. The success rate is probably the lowest of a hunt that you're going to book too. There just aren't a lot of stone sheep. I think there's 40,000 elephants in Zimbabwe. There's 8,000 stone sheep on the planet. So I mean, there's not a lot of stone sheep. Here's another example of some color choices. These are from not very far away. Again, just looking at the color. This one's almost pure black, and this one's almost as light as you can get. Both of these are British Columbia sheep. And then here's another example. We hunted an area on the west side of British Columbia in 2014. This is a ram that Jason killed. It's almost totally blue. There's not a butt patch on it. It's got a dark streak down his back. And this ram, the other big twisty one with the light head and the black body, was killed 10 miles from where he killed it. So that's how much they vary area to area. So that's the kind of rundown of stone sheep. So your BC and the Yukon. There's a lot of great outfitters. Again, there's unless you're a BC resident or Yukon resident, there's no self-guided hunting. So if you want to get a stone sheep, you're gonna have to book a hunt. Rocky Mountain Bighorn. This is probably the most achievable one that we get access to as U.S. residents. So as you can see, they're in BC, Alberta. In BC and Alberta, it's required as a non-resident to hire an outfitter. But in all these other states, Washington, Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Oregon, Wyoming, Nebraska, Utah, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, those are all places you can hunt self-guided. So if you're lucky enough to draw a tag, you can hunt all those states. The problem is, the odds of drawing a sheep tag now are so slim almost anywhere that people don't realize this, but there are going to be more guys die without a grand slam because of the bighorn than any other sheep. Right now, the hardest one to get is a bighorn. I get more calls from guys that have been applying for 50 years, 40 years, 30 years that need a bighorn than anything else. There's quite a few deserts available. Bighorns are the bottleneck right now because there's 19 tags you could purchase, 19 to 25 tags you could purchase in the U.S. These are auction tags. They're expensive. They're between, I think the cheapest one last year went from $55,000 to $500, $485,000, the most expensive one out there. But you also have the most opportunity to draw these. There's more of them, like for example, Wyoming gives, a couple hundred bighorns a year. So it's one of those that you have to apply. You're going to want to think long term on the bighorn because you want to apply everywhere you can and to figure out, like, guys that have a bighorn, it seems simple. I actually drew one. It's great. It was easy. I drew a tag and got one. But most people are not going to go that route. Now you can do guided hunts in British Columbia and Alberta. The success rate is not tremendously high, probably around 25 to 40%. They're between $25,000 and $40,000, but there are some opportunities, and they do come up. And the other one listed on here is California Bighorn. So the subspecies of bighorn is California Bighorn, and they have them. It's basically a smaller version of them, and that's BC, British Columbia, Oregon, Washington, Idaho. They've been transplanted to North Dakota. They have 4 or 5 herds in Nevada, and Utah has a couple. And they're just a smaller species. When you apply, some states allow you to put in for them also, which is nice. If you can get a chance on California Bighorn, do it. It's the same, counts towards your Grand Slam, the same as any Rocky Mountain Bighorn. I'm going to show you a few rams here. This is a New Mexico sheep, a Montana Breaks ram, another Montana ram, another New Mexico ram. This is my ram that I drew this tag in 2015, and it's my dad's sheep that he killed back in 2000. That was the first sheep I was ever on. That kind of got it started for me. We'll move on to desert sheep. So you guys should know this, guys. These both are very famous rams. This is an Arizona auction tag ram that Jay Scott actually outfitted. And then here's Jason's ram, Goliath, here. And so we're going to talk about desert sheep. Desert sheep used to be the hardest one to get. They're not as hard anymore. Mexico has transplanted desert sheep all over the place. There's a lot of opportunities for desert sheep in Mexico, and there's a lot of draw opportunities in the U.S. These are some rams. Obviously, there's Jay smiling. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go back to that. So, applications you can apply for desert sheep in the U.S. in Utah, Colorado, California, Nevada, New Mexico. Texas has one tag, Arizona, and Old Mexico. So that's where you can get desert sheep. The odds are steep like anything, but right now there's quite a few desert sheep for sale or hunts for sale in Mexico. The price of stone sheep is going up. because they're limited. There's a finite amount. The price of desert sheep has stabilized and is coming down a bit because in Mexico they're doing a tremendous job of planting desert sheep all over the place. There's more opportunities to hunt in Mexico right now than there's ever been. This used to be the bottleneck for getting your Grand Slam. It's not anymore. There's a lot of opportunities for deserts. And then, yeah, there's Jason sheep, and a big, there's also another subspecies of desert. Some of these, is that a Nelson? So these are both Nelson rams here. There's Nelson desert and there's Mexican desert. The Mexicana is a bigger version, generally, bigger bases, and they've been transplanted from Mexico. And here's one of the ugliest deserts you ever see. This is my desert that I finished up with, and another big one that Jay killed. One of the questions I get a lot is, what's a fannin sheep? So you could ask 10 guys, you're going to get 10 different answers. I'll give you what I think a fannin sheep is. So this group of sheep you can see right here. There's that's taken in the middle of British Columbia in a stone sheep area, and this is running all the colors. There's a pure white one at the top, a dark one with dark legs all over. The bottom line is that stone sheep come from nearly pure white to almost black. So if you book a stone sheep hunt and you go to an area, you could run into a sheep that looks like a Dall sheep, particularly in the Yukon. You also, this sheep on the left here, that's killed in a pure Dall sheep area late in the season. As whether it's global warming or climate change or whatever, there is getting more and more dark hair in Dall sheep. They're killing them in Alaska. They're killing, we were in the Northwest Territories and a guy in camp with us killed a ram that you would have called a stone sheep. It's a Dall sheep if you genetically tested, but it has a saddle, black sides and everything. So a fannin sheep is a dirty Dall sheep or a really light stone sheep. And I always say, because there's a lot of guys that'll book a Dall sheep hoping to kill one with color, and I think you should try and get all of them. That makes it more fun. Not like, I'm trying to sneak one out, get a sneaky stone sheep. The way I look at stone sheep versus fannin versus Dalls is, if you could shoulder mount a sheep and tell that it's a stone sheep, it's a stone sheep. If you could shoulder mount a sheep and it looks like a Dall sheep, it's a Dall sheep. So that's my opinion. What's that?
What about a fannin?
Yeah, that's it.
What is it?
So, one of the big questions I get almost every day is, I just got in, just bought some of your gear, got heavy into elk hunting, deer hunting, and you get a call like, I want to go sheep hunting. How am I going to get on a sheep hunt? And it's not easy. If you're looking for a roadblock or something to prevent you from hunting sheep, it's there. Okay? They're expensive. There's not a lot of opportunity. It's going to take a long-term plan, and you really want to. You're not going to accidentally find yourself on a stone sheep hunt. You have to want to do it. It's not one of those things where I just happen to get a tag and I'm going to go. There's enough roadblocks that if you don't have a desire to do it, you probably won't do it. On the other hand, there's enough opportunity out there that if you really want to do it, there's a way to do it, and there's a way to do it without spending all the money for I finished my Grand Slam last year, and I killed my entire Grand Slam for $24,000. It took me 11 years, and I got really lucky, but at the end of the day, I did it for $24,000. I won a stone sheep hunt in a drawing, which I'm in every stone sheep drawing that's ever been issued, I'm in. So I won a stone sheep hunt. I got a cancellation Dall sheep hunt. The guy backed out with 48 hours notice and didn't want to go. I drew a bighorn, and I killed that ugly one-horn desert that nobody else wanted to hunt. That's how I did it. It took me 10 years, almost 11 years to do it. But it can be done. Like I said, there's a lot of roadblocks to want a sheep hunt, but if you really want to do it, there's ways to figure it out. And it's developing a long-term plan. One is draw a tag. I tell everybody, you got to apply everywhere for everything when it comes to sheep. If you can afford it, you should be in the drawing. It seems like the guys that apply the most are the most lucky. I hear it all the time. Guys call me like, I've never drawn a desert sheep tag, and I ask them, well, how long have you been applying? I don't even apply. Their odds are terrible. Well, you're definitely not going to get one if you don't apply. I mean, but I hear it all the time. Or in Montana, where guys are like, I've never drawn a sheep tag. How many points do you have? I missed a few years, and I did. Like, you got to be in every drawing. Your hope is to get lucky one time in your life. I've been lucky 3 times, but the best possible scenario, when you crunch the numbers, statistically speaking, you're applying to hopefully get lucky one time, whether it's a desert sheep or whether it's a special doll tag, but you definitely won't draw if you're not in the drawing. They will not hunt you down and give you a tag. The second thing is book a hunt. I get, right now, a lot of young guys call me and they're, hey man, I really want to hunt sheep in my life. What should I do? And if you look at, I spend about $2,000 to $3,000 a year applying for everything. And I look at it like I'm already on house money. I've won a couple of tags. I've drawn a couple. I'm already winning. But if I was starting today and my goal was to hunt sheep in 10 years, I would book a hunt a long ways out and start paying it off. I mean, statistically speaking, you're not going to draw a tag in the next 10 years. How many people in here have drawn a sheep tag, like pulled it? Oh, we got a pretty lucky room, actually. That's more than I thought. Right now, if you were, for 10 years, we're taking $2,000 a year and putting it towards, there's a lot of outfitters that will let you book a ways out, and you should book a fair ways out. Just book a hunt, for whether it's 5 years out, and start paying it down. If you want something bad enough, it's not that hard to do, and it's really the only way you can ensure you're going to go sheep hunting. Because I have a friend that just drew a Montana sheep tag. He's won some other stuff, but he's been applying in every single state for 47 years, and he just drew his first tag. So every state, he's $2,000 or $3,000 a year. Started when the odds were amazing. First sheep tag he's drawn in 47 years. That's a long shot. And as you're applying, if you can afford to apply right now, you should. But to tell you where the odds are going, I have a friend who drew on his first application in 1990 in Nevada for desert sheep in the Mormon Mountains. The odds were 1 in 7. Those odds are like 1 in 300. I don't even know what they are now. I just apply because they're insane. So if you extrapolate that, that's 30 years ago. They're not getting easier to draw. So I just say apply everywhere you can and plan to make one happen. One of the most common questions I get to is I just don't see a sheep hunt in my future. What else can I do? And it's there are some great mountain hunts that will offer you the exact same thing as a sheep hunt or close to it that are more affordable. One of them is mountain goat. Mountain goats are $8,000 to $12,000 right now. There's plenty of places you can draw that have obviously better odds than a sheep would have. It's a tremendous hunt. Every time I've been somewhere I shouldn't be, it's been mountain goat hunting, not sheep hunting. They're a true challenge. So that's another one. This is a mid-Asian ibex in Kyrgyzstan. Right now, the best value in all of mountain hunting is ibex in Asia. So I'm going to Kyrgyzstan this fall because I want to go check it out. But you can book. I booked a plane ticket from Bozeman, Montana, to Kyrgyzstan, Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, and back for $1,100. The hunt's $6,000 to go on. There's not a mountain hunting experience in all of North America that probably can compete with that. So it's a bit of a travel. If you want to go do a true mountain hunt, it's a long ways away. I'm hoping it's relatively safe. They say it's relatively safe, but there are some other options if you want to do this, and again, for that kind of money. And another one is a tur. There's Pedro with his great big tur he killed in Azerbaijan. This is, for the money, probably one of the best mountain hunts in all of the world. It's one of the steepest places on the planet. It's a super unique animal, very challenging, pretty tough to beat. And those are in the realm of a really good elk hunt. And then the other one in the States, if you want to get a good starter hunt, I've done this 3 times now, and they're super challenging. It's pretty hard to beat an oddad. They're not delicious, but they're really challenging. I'm not going to lie, they're not good eating. They're terrible. But it's a real challenge. It's more of a goat than a sheep, but it's a great starter hunt. You can do them. You can draw them in New Mexico, or you can buy them in Texas, and they're pretty good value. So I always tell guys, like, if you're just starting and you want to dip your foot in and see if you like it, be a good one. And some of these other ones, if you're looking to get a tremendous value but you're going to travel a long ways, those are some other options. So we go through some frequently asked questions that we get a lot here. One is like, how do I choose the right outfitter? And I kind of briefly went over it, but choosing the right outfitter, well, if you're going to book a hunt, boils down to asking the right questions. There's an outfitter out there that offers what you want. You just need to make sure that you ask the right questions. I deal with lots of guys that are either unhappy or, this could have been different. And then it's like, well, if you are not in that great a shape or don't have that much time, and you want to go on a hunt, you probably shouldn't book a 15-day unsupported backpack hunt where they drop you off. And it's surprising how many guys do that when they're like, yeah, I was there a long time and we walked a long ways and kind of thought it'd be easier. Another thing is if you book a horseback area or an easier type area, if you book a helicopter hunt in the Northwest Territories and dream about marching for 10 days straight and really digging around out, it's probably not the right hunt for you either. So you gotta read between the lines. You gotta be honest with your expectations too of what you expect and your actual shape. We've been on some hunts that are tough. Not look at the photos and we're looking up on the ridge tough, like knock you on your ass tough. As hard a thing as you could ever do in your life. You gotta want to do that. It's going to give you a lot of ways to get out of it. You have to want to do that type of a hunt. If you want to do that type of a hunt, you should pick that type of a hunt. And again, it's kind of reading between the lines. So I talk to tons of clients, tons of guides, and tons of outfitters. And when it comes to all that stuff, the truth kind of lies in the middle of what they offer, what they deliver, what the client expects, so again, it's just really important to ask the right questions. And I always tell guys, do not make an impulsive decision. If some of the best outfitters are the worst salesmen ever, and some of the worst outfitters are tremendous salesmen. So it's just a fact. Like I have the guy I went on my first Dall sheep hunt. He's went 100% on Dall sheep for 11 years, 6 for 6 every single year. If you ask him, am I going to get a sheep? He will tell you, I can't guarantee you're going to get a sheep. He's 100% for 11 years. So the more honest they are and evaluating you, like I always just say, talk to the guy, go with your gut who you feel the best about, talk to a few of them, but don't make an impulsive decision when you're going to book. Don't just like, I'm going to do it. I mean, you should, but make sure it's well thought out. When I got, just yesterday, there's somebody in here drew an Idaho sheep tag, I think. Where's the guy? That was in yesterday that drew an Idaho sheep tag. I saw him earlier. Drew a sheep tag, should I hire an outfitter? What it boils down to is, how well do you know the area? How much time do you have? Because at the end of the day, time is money. And you need to realize what that opportunity is. If you draw a sheep tag, you've won. You are way ahead. You don't want to waste that opportunity. Now, I drew a sheep tag. I had 40 days off in the fall, and I knew the area, went did it on my own. Amazing hunt. If you don't have that kind of time or don't want to learn the area, go with the guy that knows the area the best. Get the most out of that tag. And one thing I'll say is, there's a big push lately about do it yourself versus guided. I've done both. I've never went on a guided hunt where I regretted having somebody with me, or I didn't learn from somebody or have a great time. Like the whole, I had to go guided. It's a plus. I mean, they're like most guides are great. You're going to learn a lot. It's nice to have somebody with you. It's new, and especially if it's a new area, you're gonna learn stuff. You're gonna pick up new tricks. I always learn when I'm hunting with other guys. So it just boils down. Time is money, and you need to be realistic with how much time do I have to learn the area. And if you got tons of time, do it on your own. Great, that's awesome, and you know the area. You've been growing up looking at it. If you don't know anything about the area, you don't have a lot of time off, you're not in tremendous shape yet, find the guy that can help you out the best. Get the most out of that tag, because you don't want to look back 10 years and go, man, I really messed up that opportunity, because they don't come around often enough. Success versus quality. I get this. This is another one I get a lot. Like I said, particularly from archery hunters, 90 of the top 100 rams killed in the world, Dall sheep, have come from Alaska. Okay, the highest success rate for archery, for example, is in the Northwest Territories. If you want a lot of opportunity, like you have to get a sheep. Pick a place that has a lot of sheep. When it comes to stone sheep, the lowest density areas, the areas with minuscule sheep, generally produce the biggest rams. They live the longest. They don't run across people that often. So quantity and opportunity versus quality can oftentimes be the opposite. You could go into an area that has very few sheep, hunt 12 days straight, kill a gigantic ram. That guy's thrilled. Or you could go 12 days and not see one, and if the guy picked that hunt, he knew, I'm going in there looking for a great big sheep, it might not work out, he's still thrilled. The guy who hopes to see a pile of sheep, doesn't see any, and leaves without one after 12 days, should have picked an area that had more density. So you really want to be honest with, do I have to get a sheep? Do I want to go to an area that has lots of sheep? Put that in when you're making the decision. Archery versus rifle. I have one thing I tell people: if you can't go home without a sheep, don't take your bow. It's that simple. The odds of you killing a sheep with a bow, if you've got a rifle with you, are slim and none. If it's your first sheep hunt and it's like, well, I might take my bow if it was in the right spot, don't do it. Take your rifle, go have a great hunt, look through, get the right sheep. But if you can't leave without one, don't take your bow. It took me 7 hunts of my own personally to get to the point where I can leave without one. And it wasn't on my first hunt, I can tell you that. So archery versus rifle, if you're a diehard bow hunter, 2 things. Pick an area that has a lot of opportunity and stick to it. And if it's bow or nothing, then that's great. But if not, the odds of I'll have the guide carry the rifle and I'll take my bow and hopefully I'll be able to stock it, I can't even recall when that's worked out. So just take your rifle, have a great hunt. So the last question I get the most of is, what is a cancellation hunt? And this is probably the most confusing thing out there. You guys will call in January I just picked up a cancellation hunt for whether it's Dall sheep or stone sheep, and it's like, that's not a cancellation hunt. That's a hunt they couldn't sell. A true cancellation hunt, if you want to hunt sheep, and these come up yearly, and you want to hunt sheep and you want to get the best value, it's going to happen on short notice. What it means is that somebody has booked that hunt, something has come up, they're not able to go, and they're walking away from some money, and you're going to be able to take advantage of them losing some money on the hunt. That's a true cancellation hunt. Anything other than that is a hunt they couldn't sell, or somebody wanted to bum. Like, if you're paying full price, it's not a cancellation hunt. If you've got 4 months to plan, it's not a cancellation hunt. I mean, a cancellation hunt is, you need to be on a plane in 48 hours to take advantage of that money that somebody left on the table. And it comes up every year. One of the big ones is, a lot of guys don't know, if you have a DUI or somebody's traveling with you that has a DUI, you're not getting into Canada. And every year there's 3 or 4 times where I'll get a call where Jim got stopped at the border, he had a DUI 8 years ago, and he's not going stone sheep hunting, and we need a hunter tomorrow. Just last year I had a guy that was $10,000 to hunt, a stone sheep hunt, $10,000 to hunt, $10,000 to kill. One of the best deals you could get. He was ready in 48 hours left to kill the 40-inch ram for $20,000. Stone sheep, black stone sheep. So that's what a cancellation hunt. And it's like, is there a secret list? The more outfitters you talk to, the more guys you become friends with, the more guys that know that you're serious about leaving on short notice, the more money you have stashed away that you can access quickly, that will allow you to get a better deal. The longer time you need to go on that hunt, like, I can't really make it, or I need a new roof this year or whatever, that's not a cancellation hunt. you got to be able to leave immediately, as fast as you can, depending on how much money you're going to take advantage of. So those are the kind of the most common stuff that we get as far as non-gear related. Jason's going to go over gear list later. So I was going to open up to questions. Anybody, any question about anything sheep related, draw related, sheep in all of North America, anything?
Stone and Doll, do they interbreed sometimes?
Stone and Doll interbreed, great question. Not that I know of. There are Doll sheep that have color in them, but as far as, and there are stone sheep that are nearly pure white, but as far as a stone sheep area where Doll sheep interlap, I'm not aware of anywhere that happens. There's places in the Yukon and one concession that has isolated bands of Doll sheep that come close to the Northwest Territories and stone sheep in their southern areas, but I'm not aware of anywhere that I think that's what people think they are. It's like, oh, a stone ram bred a Doll ewe, but really what it's a Doll sheep are getting darker. 25 years from now, with the rate that the amount of dark hair that's in Doll sheep, it's going to be pretty rare to kill a pure white Doll sheep. The Northwest Territories, I mean, almost up to the center, they have sheep that, well, Aaron Davison's over there, he killed one. That's a really dark Fannin sheep, you know, that was killed in the Northwest Territory. If you genetically test it, it's a Doll sheep, but, you know.
I got one. I don't know if you covered it, but field judging sheep. What do you look for? What's important? We talked a lot about it.
Yeah, field judging sheep.
There's another reason to hire a guy to hear.
Yeah. So when you're talking about sheep, are you quickly in the score? One of the things that people don't realize is that when you're talking about big rams, sheep score is 60% mass. So everybody likes the big, twisty, long, beautiful sheep, but the heavier the ram, the bigger it is. So what you look for is mass, drop, how far it comes down. You'll see tight little rams that are like this that look awesome. They're beautiful sheep, but they're not going to be huge. The deeper the drop, the more low slung they are, the bigger the body. One of the biggest things about judging sheep is body size. When I go into a new unit and I'm looking to, whether I'm guiding there and I've never been there, or I'm going along with somebody and helping them out, first thing I do is I run it like a spreadsheet. I go find the county, I pull every big sheep that's ever been killed there, I run the data on what's the average size of the bases, whether it's from the biologist or from Boone and Crockett. I run what are the average size of the bases on there. Length is pretty easy to get how long they are. I mean, they're generally between 30 and 45, and you just got to kind of guess where that is. But picking, you're going to be a lot more accurate if you know what to expect. You can't just walk in like, man, that's a huge looking Doll sheep, it must be a book ram. I mean, some of the sheep that that I showed you here look like they should be gigantic. We killed a couple in Bonnet Plume. That one's 42, mine's 39. They both look like they should be over 170. Everybody that says, how big are those sheep? They're both 160, 161, because they have small bases. So mass pushes score. So 60% of the score comes from mass. So.
And you're looking through the scope, whether it be a spine scope or bino or whatever. What kind of tips or tricks are you looking for to be able to tell that you're looking at?
So the number one factor, which I should have covered earlier, is age. The older the ram, the heavier he's going to be. The longer he's lived, the more he's going to push mass out. You want to shoot old rams. I mean, I would way rather kill 150-inch Doll sheep that's broomed and 12 years old than a 6-year-old that's 40 inches long. For me, age is the big. I always want to look for age. But as far as judging great big rams, how heavy they come out of their head, you'll know pretty much from looking at the area, like what the area produces. Where I live in Montana, we have areas. I drew an area that had between 15 and 16-inch bases. I pretty much knew what I was getting into in the area I was hunting. I've guided in the Missouri breaks where they go from I've killed them from 13.6 to 17.7. It's pretty hard to judge them. I mean, that's a massive gap. A lot of it boils down to body size. A lot of it you can tell on the small rams. You can tell, and a lot of the big ones will fool you because they're short and stubby. They don't look as long as they are. So basically, it's picking someone's brain, again, it boils down to whether you hire an outfitter that knows what they're doing or knows what big sheep look like, or bringing guys with you that are qualified to judge them. Or what I always tell guys is, if you have a sheep tag and you're going hunting, do not get wrapped up in score. It's awesome when everyone is looking for a big monster 40-inch ram. There's no one heads in the field and goes, I want a stubby 30-incher. It just doesn't happen. But what I always tell guys, if you draw a sheep tag, look at every sheep and shoot a sheep that you want to look at. Because what happens is, guys, they get wrapped up in score, and I see it in Montana a lot, where they go like, oh man, the bases are huge, and they'll shoot a really ugly ram because they thought he was big. And then it's a double bummer, because you're going to have to stare at that ugly thing for the rest of your life, and his bases don't turn out to be as big as you thought they were. It's a real bummer. So I always tell guys, before you start worried about score or this a tag of a lifetime or anything, like, make sure you shoot a ram that you want to look at. Every single sheep I've killed, including that ugly 19 by 29 one I killed with Lance, I love that ram. I knew that ram was ugly when I shot him. That's why I liked him.
Once you kind of know the experience that you want, and now you're trying to narrow down what an outfitter would be a good fit for you, in your experience, where would you start that process? What are some things you look for in an outfitter to try to find one that would be a good fit?
Good question. Like, once you've narrowed down who's a good fit, it's about asking the right questions. First of all, you want to talk to some past clients, references of somebody that I always say, when you're getting advice on sheep hunting, don't ask somebody that hasn't done it. There's a lot of guys that will speculate with your money. I think you should do this. Don't take anybody's advice that hasn't stepped up and actually paid for one and went on there. So talk to somebody that's actually done it, that put their trust in that person. Because there's a lot of guys out there, I think you should go here. Well, why aren't you going? Like, the money, not going to do it. So get advice from somebody that's been there. Ask the right questions, and you're going to get some. It's good to get some pushback. Like, everybody wants, this is my ideal trip. If you tell him this is what I think it's going to be like, if he tells you it's like, yeah, it's three of the four, but that's probably not that realistic. That's what you want. You want to know what he delivers. You want him to be honest with you. If a guy says, we got 40 inchers laying under every tree, you'll probably be done in the first day, bring your bow, you're about to get a $35,000 doll sheep because you're going twice.
What are your thoughts on the unlimited?
Oh, the unlimited Montana. So I was going to get to that. There is one place in the United States where you can just go buy a sheep tag and go hunt. It's unlimited in Montana. I've hunted it 5 times since I was 13. The first sheep hunt I ever did by myself was 13 in the limited area. So it's the Beartooth Plateau, the Boulder. There's basically 5 units where you can buy a tag. It's a quota hunt, so it's either 2 or 3 rams. Once they're killed, it's closed. You apply as a non-resident. It's a guaranteed tag. It is the toughest sheep hunting in North America, but it is doable. There are guys that do it every single year. It takes a long-term plan. You're not going to roll in there and glass one up on top of a ridge and shoot one. That's not how it works. It gets horrible weather. It's some of the nastiest country in North America, but you have a sheep tag in your pocket, and they kill big, nice rams in there every single year. It just takes a long-term plan. You have to plan on, like, I'm going to go for 10 years straight. I'm going to go every year for 2 weeks. I'm going to go learn an area. And my goal is to eventually kill a nice old ram in that limited area. The guys that hunt the hardest, the guys that do the most research, the guys that stick to the plan and go the longest term, end up killing sheep. They generally do. I will say one thing. We're talking about bad information. If you read it on the internet about the unlimited area, it's BS. The guys that know the unlimited areas don't share information. No, there's not a spot in the unlimited area where, like, if you're in this basin on opening day, you'll get one. Doesn't exist. They're already gone. And the other thing, there's kind of a misconception that it's a foot race on sheep. It's a short quota, 2 or 3 rounds. Most years, most of those seasons are open all the way to the end. I don't know of an outfitter that's killed a ram in the unlimited area for maybe the last 7 or 8 years. That you'll read that a lot, that it can be a foot race. That was the old days a long time ago. Right now, it's so hard to find a sheep, and there's so few of them. It's basically they stay open quite a while. They can close early. It does happen, but like I said, generally the guys that hunt the hardest with the best plan get sheep. I will not apply in Montana again. I drew a tag, killed a great big ram with my bow. I will hunt the unlimited area. I'll be back in 5 years, and I will hunt that until I get one. And I'll have a long-term plan to hunt one area until I get one. So, but it's doable. That's the only place. You have a sheep tag in your pocket.
What does that tag cost?
I think it's $1,200, maybe $900 or $1,200.
Do they sell an unlimited?
Unlimited, yeah. There's 200 or 300 a year is all that gets sold, and I bet I don't know that they've actually done a study out. I bet the participation rate is less than 50%, and I bet the participation rate of a guy that stays more than 5 days is less than 10%. It's gnarly country, yeah.
2 or 3 rams a year on the floor.
2 or 3 per area, yeah. There's 5 areas, yeah.
And the guides aren't outfitted there? Is that what I heard you say?
It's tough hunting. It's a tough place to make a living. Jack Ashton used to outfit in the area. He's killed over 100 rams in the limited area, and since he retired and doesn't do it anymore, no one has done it successfully. It's tough. But again, it's the only place where you got a sheep tag in your pocket. And nowadays, as hard as it is to get a Rocky Mountain Bighorn, and the success rate in BC and Alberta for non-residents, even on fully paid hunts, it is an option.
Greg, can you just go over real quick how the guy sleeping in the tent next to you on the guy's how important that is?
What's that?
How the guy sleeping next to you in the tent, how important he is compared to the outfit.
Oh, good. We talked about this last night. One of the things, and particularly if you're bow hunting, but almost anything, one thing you need to ask an outfitter is, who's going to be my guide? Everybody wants to research the outfitter. I'm going with, these guys, or they got they got a beautiful booth, hardwood all over it, big rams in it and stuff. One thing you need to ask is, who's my guide? Who am I going to spend the 10 days with? And I always say, like, if I didn't do my research and I showed up on a $20,000 doll sheep hunt and my guide's wearing cowboy boots, I'm going to be bummed out. You want to make sure that you find out everything about your hunt, and you want to find out who you're going to be hunting with, because the outfitter's great, the area is great, but at the end of the day, you need to be compatible with that guy. It's going to be hard, and you want to be with somebody that you're going to learn from, that's going to push you like Lance said, that's going to get the best out of you and can help you the most. If you're not compatible, or they've never done, and another thing I say is, don't be afraid of a young guide either. I get lots of guys that say, I'm going, but he's got this guy that's his second year, I'm wrapping it up. It's his second year guide or whatever. I'm never afraid to go with a young, enthusiastic guy. That guy can walk, that guy can go. He's stoked to be there. It just depends on the guy. A guy that's been there 20 years, he may be burned out. He may hate sheep hunting. He may look at it as a job. So you just want to make sure that ask all the right questions and know who you're actually going to be hunting with. Wrapping it up. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Good job. You can do all that homework, or you can just call Brendan. It's a lot easier. Great presentation. Thank you. Thank you.
We winning
I'll be
something?
available for questions. Yeah, we can give away some stuff. All right. See if somebody RSVP'd for Seminar 4. We're going to try the list first. Where's the... it's way back here. Yeah, exactly. Abel Martinez, are you here? All right. Who's good? Who do you want to choose?
Jeremy Crone.
Jeremy Crone, are you here?
Switch
All right.
pages.
Let's go to the hands. All of you RSVP'd, of course.
That's your name on the list.
Let's see. Let's go with you with a pink ram on the front of your shirt. Congratulations.